We live in a time of anxious people, people who, even possessing everything that many dream of, live dissatisfied with life. There's a phrase that, in my opinion, sums up this feeling. Arthur Schopenhauer said that life is a constant oscillation between the desire to have and the boredom of possessing. This pretty much sums up the lives of some people. We see people who have a beautiful family, a beautiful house, health, stability, but every morning they wake up with a tightness in their chest, feeling that something is deeply wrong. And the worst part? Many can't explain why. Do you know someone like that? Or maybe you are that person, the one who has everything it takes to be happy but lives in a constant state of anxiety. While everyone says, "You have everything, for God's sake," you feel like you're drowning in shallow waters. There's a 2,500-year-old Buddhist concept that explains exactly why this happens. Buddhists call it Sankhara-Dukkha, the suffering you create when your own mind becomes your prison. And when you understand how it works, you finally discover why having a good life doesn't guarantee a peaceful mind. But there's a catch. Understanding this will force you to confront an uncomfortable truth. You are the architect of your own suffering, and only you can destroy the prison you built. Today I'm going to tell you the story of a woman who had everything and couldn't live anything, and how she discovered that the problem was never her life. It was her mind. This video was inspired by a request from a channel subscriber who asked me to produce content inspired by an Indian mother who has a beautiful and healthy family, but because of her anxious and unstable temperament, she is unable to live and enjoy any of it. If you're watching this, I wish you and your family all the best, and I hope this content can help you. Now, for all of you watching, I invite you to comment. Have you been having problems with anxiety that are preventing you from enjoying your own life? Comment below and also help other people who are commenting. Perhaps they are going through the same problem you went through. Be kind. Thank you all so much for your attention. Back to the video. Chapter 1. The Perfect Life. Priya was 38 years old. She lived in San Francisco, had 2 beautiful children, a devoted husband, and a comfortable home. She had a stable job with a good salary. If you looked from the outside, you would say, "This woman has it all." But Priya woke up at 3 a.m. every night with her heart racing, not because of a real problem, but because her mind was already creating problems that didn't exist. What if my son fails the exam? What if my husband realizes I'm not good enough? What if I lose my job? What if? Her family tried to help. Her husband said, "Honey, everything's fine. Look at our life. Why can't you see that?" Her children said, "Mom, you need to relax. We're okay." But the more they said it, the worse she felt, because she knew they were right. She should be happy. And the fact that she couldn't was making her feel like something was deeply broken inside her. She was going to work exhausted. She tried to be present with her children, but her mind was always 10 steps ahead, worried about the next problem, the next crisis, the next catastrophe that hadn't even happened yet. During family dinner, she was physically present, but mentally she was reviewing tomorrow's work, a relaxing weekend. She saw her children having fun, but her mind was preoccupied with the bill due on Tuesday. Everyone saw a successful woman. She felt like a fraud, exhausted from pretending everything was fine. And here's what nobody understood, not even herself. Priya wasn't suffering because of her life. She was suffering in spite of her life. And that has a name in Buddhism that perfectly explains what was happening. Chapter 2. The Invisible Prison. In Buddhism, there's a concept called dukkha. Most people translate it as suffering, but that doesn't capture the true essence. Dukkha is more subtle. It's that feeling that something is always out of place, like a misaligned wheel that creaks even when it should be turning smoothly. And dukkha has 3 levels that very few people know about. The first level is dukkha, obvious suffering, physical pain, loss, illness, death. Everyone understands this kind of suffering. You lose someone, you suffer. You get sick, you suffer. Simple. The second level is viparinama-dukkha, the suffering of change. It's when you have something good but are already suffering in advance, because you know it will end. You're on vacation but already anxious about returning to work. You're with your family but already worried about when your children grow up and leave home. But the third level is the cruelest. And that's exactly what Priya was experiencing. Sankhara-Dukkha, the suffering that comes simply from having a mind that never rests, that is never satisfied, that always wants more, different, better. That transforms even the best moments into sources of anxiety. It is the suffering you create when your own mind becomes a prison. Think about it for a second. Priya had everything, but her mind turned every good moment into a source of worry. Healthy children? What if something happens to them? Stable job? What if I get fired? Loving husband? What if he leaves me? Her life wasn't the problem, her mind was, and the more she tried to control it, the worse it got. Because here's what she didn't understand. You can't solve Sankhara-Dukkha by improving your external life. You only solve it by training your inner mind. Chapter 3. The Breakdown. Priya's eldest son Arjun was 16 years old. He was preparing for his final exams that would determine which university he would attend. The boy was studying, doing his best, but Priya was obsessed. She checked his grades every day. She asked if he had studied enough. She talked about the importance of the test. She created catastrophic scenarios about what would happen if he didn't pass. Arjun tried to say, "Mum, I'm doing my best." But for Priya, his best never seemed to be enough because in her mind it wasn't about the effort. It was about securing a result she couldn't control. The day of the exam arrived. Arjun was nervous but confident. He had studied, he was prepared. When he got home, Priya immediately bombarded him with questions. How did it go? Do you think it went well? Which questions did you get wrong? Why didn't you review that topic I mentioned more? Arjun tried to answer calmly. He said he had done his best, that he thought he had done well, that now it was just a matter of waiting for the result. But Priya couldn't stop. Her anxiety wouldn't take a break. And then she said the words she could never take back. If you don't pass, it's because you didn't take this seriously. I did everything for you. I gave you all the conditions. If you fail, it's your fault. The silence that followed was deafening. Arjun looked at her with an expression Priya had never seen before. It wasn't anger. It was something worse. It was disappointment. It was exhaustion. It was the expression of someone who finally gives up trying to reach an impossible standard. He simply said, "You'll never be satisfied, will you, Mum? No matter what I do." And he left the room. Priya stood there alone, and for the first time truly saw what she was doing. She had transformed the most important moment of her son's life into a battleground of her anxiety. She wasn't protecting him. She was suffocating him with her own fear. And the worst part, she knew she had done this before. To her husband, to her daughter, to everyone around her. Her anxiety wasn't a protective shield. It was a weapon that hurt everyone she loved. That night, Priya cried, not because something bad had happened, but because she finally understood. She had a beautiful life, and she was destroying it from the inside out. Chapter 4. In Search. The relationship between Priya and Arjun had grown cold. He still lived in the house, still spoke to her, but something fundamental had broken. He stopped sharing things. He stopped asking for advice. He built a silent wall between them. Priya's husband finally confronted her. "You need professional help. This isn't about being worried anymore. You're destroying our family with your anxiety." Priya knew he was right, but admitting that meant admitting that all along, the problem wasn't the outside world. It was her, and that hurts more than any outside criticism. She made an appointment with a therapist named Dr. Patel, a 55-year-old Indian woman who was familiar with various Eastern philosophies and integrated them into therapy. In the first session, Priya poured her heart out. The constant anxiety, the inability to be present, the feeling that even though she had everything, she was always waiting for the next disaster. Dr. Patel listened in silence. When Priya finished, she asked a simple question. "Priya, tell me something. Have you ever considered that maybe you're not suffering because of your life, but because of your mind. Priya was confused. What do you mean? Let me tell you about something called dukkha. In Buddhism, we understand that there are 3 types of suffering, and that's where everything started to make sense. Dr. Patel explained, people with high generalized anxiety have an overactive amygdala, the part of the brain responsible for detecting threats. This hyperactivity isn't caused by real threats. It's caused by repetitive mental patterns that train the brain to see danger where there is none. You've literally trained your brain to suffer. Chapter 5. Understanding Prison. Priya finally understood. She was experiencing Sankhara-Dukkha, self-created suffering. Her mind had become a machine for producing anxiety, and no matter how good her life was, the machine kept running. Dr. Patel drew 3 circles on the paper. I'll explain the 3 levels of dukkha to you. The first level is what we call dukkha, and you don't have that. You're not sick, nobody died, you haven't lost anything. That's not your problem. The second one, viparinama dukkha, you have a little of. You worry in advance about good things ending, but that's not the main one either. The third, Sankhara-Dukkha, that's yours. It's the suffering that comes from a mind that never stops. That turns every moment into a negotiation, every good experience into a source of future worry. Priya felt a weight on her shoulders. But I don't want to be like this, why can't I just stop? The doctor replied, because you don't understand how your mind works. Let me show you. Dr. Patel explained something that changed everything for Priya. Your mind has 3 forms of constant desire that create Sankhara-Dukkha. First, kama tanha, the desire for pleasure and experiences. You have something good, but your mind is already wanting the next good moment, the next validation, the next guarantee. Second, bhavatanha, the desire to become something. You want to be a better mother, a better professional, a better person. You are never satisfied with who you are now. Third, vibhavatanha, the desire to eliminate. You want bad things to disappear. You want your anxiety to vanish. You want problems not to exist. And this desire to eliminate creates even more anxiety. Priya felt as if someone had finally put words to something she had always felt, but never been able to explain. So what do I do? How do I stop this? Dr. Patel smiled. You don't stop. You train, and it will take time. But I'll teach you. Chapter 6. The training begins. Dr. Patel started with something Priya didn't expect. The first thing you need to understand is that your mind is like a drunken monkey, stung by a scorpion, jumping from branch to branch without stopping. Buddhist texts have used this metaphor for 2,500 years. And do you know why? Because that's exactly how an untrained mind works. Priya laughed at the expression the doctor used. That perfectly describes how I feel. Your mind jumps from the past to the future, rumination and anxiety. Your mind never settles in the present. And when you live like that, you turn even the most beautiful moments into sources of suffering. Dr. Patel gave an example that pierced Priya. Tell me, when was the last time you had dinner with your family and were really present, not thinking about work, not worried about tomorrow, just being there, seeing your children, listening to your husband, tasting the food? Priya remained silent. She couldn't remember. Exactly. You have a beautiful family, but you're never with them. You're always 10 steps ahead, living problems that don't yet exist. That's Sankhara-Dukkha. You're wasting your real life because of an imaginary life of future catastrophes. The words hurt because they were true. So what do? You learn to be present, but it's not easy, because your mind will fight against you. Your mind is addicted to anxiety. It's the pattern your mind knows, and changing it will be uncomfortable at first. Dr. Patel taught Priya a simple yet revolutionary practice. Every day, 10 minutes in the morning, you will sit and simply observe your breathing, not to relax, not to feel better, but to train your mind to stay in one place without jumping to the next. Is this meditation? Priya asked. Yes, but not in the New Age way people think. This is mental training, like lifting weights but for your attention. At first it will be terrible. Your mind will scream. It will create urgencies. It will convince you that you have more important things to do. But here's the secret. Every time you notice your mind wandering and you bring it back to your breath, you're literally rebuilding the neural circuits of attention. You're teaching your brain that it doesn't always need to be in threat mode. Priya was skeptical. Does this really work? A study from Harvard University followed several people for a period of time practicing mindfulness. They discovered that daily mindfulness practice reduces gray matter density in the amygdala, literally shrinking the part of the brain responsible for the stress response. At the same time, it increases density in the hippocampus, improving learning and emotional regulation. It's not magic, it's neuroplasticity. Chapter 7. The First Steps. Priya began. First morning, 5:30 a.m. She sat on the bed, set the timer for 10 minutes, closed her eyes, and focused on her breathing. 30 seconds later, his mind was already on the 9 a.m. meeting. She brought it back to life. 15 seconds later, she was wondering if Arjun was still angry with her. I brought it back. 10 seconds, worried about the credit card bill. I brought it back. The 10 minutes felt like 3 hours, and when it was over, Priya was frustrated. This isn't working, my mind won't stop. But she remembered what Dr. Patel had said. The goal isn't to stop the thoughts. It's to notice when you're being kidnapped and bring them back. Every time you bring them back, you're training. Second morning, same thing. My mind is racing. Third morning, a little better. She managed to stay focused for maybe 30 seconds before losing focus. First week complete. Priya was exhausted, but something small had changed. She was starting to notice during the day when her mind would jump to anxiety. She couldn't stop her mind yet, but she was seeing it happen. Dr. Patel smiled as Priya recounted her words. Perfect. You're waking up. Most people live completely identified with every anxious thought. You're starting to create space between yourself and your thoughts. That's huge. Second week, Dr. Patel added something new. Now I want you to practice something during the day. When you're having dinner with your family, I want you to do this. Notice when your mind wanders to the future or the past, and gently, without judgment, bring your mind back to the present moment. Taste the food. Look at your children's faces. Really listen to what your husband is saying, not to be a perfect mother, but to be present in your own life. Chapter 8. The First Victory. Week 3. Priya was at dinner. Her brain automatically jumped out. I need to prepare tomorrow's presentation. But this time she realized, and she chose to return. She looked at her 12-year-old daughter, Maya, who was talking about a science project at school. For the first time in a long time, Priya had actually listened. Maya was excited, speaking fast. Her eyes were shining, and Priya felt something she hadn't felt in a while, a real connection. When Maya finished telling the story, Priya said, "That sounds amazing, honey. You're really excited about this, aren't you?" Maya stopped. She looked at her mother in surprise. You were listening?" The question broke Priya's heart, because the answer was clear. She wasn't usually. "I'm sorry, love, I haven't been very present, but I'm trying to change that." Maya smiled, a small but genuine smile. "Everything's okay, Mom." That night, after the children had gone to sleep, Priya's husband said, "You were different at dinner tonight." "Different how?" "Present, you were really there." Priya felt tears welling up in her eyes. "I'm trying, I realized I've wasted so much time worrying about things that don't matter, that I've forgotten to live the things that do matter." He hugged her. "I know, and I see you trying." It was the first small victory, but small victories accumulate. Chapter 9. The Concept That Changed Everything. Fourth week in therapy. Dr. Patel introduced 2 Japanese concepts that would completely transform Priya's journey. Priya, your anxiety stems from wanting to change everything at once. You want to wake up tomorrow as a completely different person. This creates more pressure, more anxiety. I'm going to teach you something called Kaizen. Kaizen is a Japanese concept that means continuous incremental improvement. It's not about being perfect. It's about being 1% better every day. Just 1%. Priya frowned. But 1% seems like such a small amount. Exactly, and that's why it works. Do you know how much better you are by 1% per day over a year? You often end up better than you started. It's not about dramatic leaps. It's about consistent, small steps. You don't need to meditate perfectly. You just need to show up every day. You don't need to be the perfect mother today. You just need to be 1% more present than yesterday. This relieved something deep within Priya. The pressure to be perfect immediately had been one of the drivers of her anxiety. And there's one more thing, Dr. Patel continued. I want you to find your Ikigai. What is that? Ikigai is a Japanese word that means reason for being. It's what makes you wake up in the morning. It's your purpose. And when you're making this change, when you're training your mind, you need to remember why you're doing it. Why are you trying to change, Priya? The answer came immediately. For my family. I almost lost my son because of my anxiety. I don't want my children to grow up remembering me as the mother who was always stressed, always worried, never present. And I don't want to reach 60 and realize that I've had a beautiful life, but I've spent my whole life too anxious to live it. Dr. Patel smiled. That's your Ikigai. When you wake up tomorrow at 5:30 and don't want to meditate, when your mind tells you that you have more important things to do, remember, you're doing this for your family. You're doing this so you don't waste the life you have. Kaizen and Ikigai, a 1% improvement guided by your purpose. That's the formula. Chapter 10. The Relapse. 6th week. Priya was doing well, meditating every day, practicing presence, feeling real changes, and then the work exploded. A large project she was leading was having problems, tight deadlines, pressure from management, urgent emails at 11 p.m., the perfect storm. The anxiety returned in full force, worse than before because now she knew she was regressing, and that created even more anxiety. She skipped 2 days of meditation. I don't have time, she told herself. She went back to her old pattern of working until midnight, waking up at 3 a.m. thinking about the project. At dinner, she was back on autopilot, her mind completely absent. Maya told her something about school, and Priya responded without processing a word. Arjun looked at her with that expression again, silent disappointment, and Priya felt the panic. I failed again, I tried to change and it didn't work, I'll always be like this. She spiraled. The voice of self-deprecation, one of the most destructive patterns of the anxious mind. Emergency session with Dr. Patel the following day. Priya, you didn't fail, you had a relapse, and relapses are part of the process. The point isn't never to fall, it's what you do after you fall. But I was doing so well. And you'll be okay again. Listen, do you think Buddhist monks never get distracted during meditation? Do you think people who have trained their minds for 30 years never have bad days? The difference isn't perfection. It's the response to imperfection. You fell. Now you get up. Tomorrow at 5:30 a.m. you'll meditate again, not because you failed, but because you care. Dr. Patel said something Priya would never forget. The river never stops flowing. During the drought it may be a trickle, but it never stops. The moment it stops, it's no longer a river. It's a memory of where the water used to be. Your practice is the same. It may be imperfect, it may be difficult, but it cannot stop. Because here's what nobody tells you about changing deep-seated mental patterns. It's not linear. You don't climb a ladder straight to the top. You climb, stumble, fall a few steps, and climb again. And each time you get up, you become stronger. Chapter 11. The Real Turning Point. 8th week. Priya had returned to practice. The project at work was still chaotic, but something fundamental had changed. She was meditating even amidst the chaos. Not perfectly. Some days only 5 minutes, but she was showing up. And then came the moment that changed everything. It was Saturday morning. Arjun had received the letter from the university. The letter that would tell him whether or not he had passed the exam. He held the sealed envelope in his hand. Priya felt anxiety rising like a giant wave, all the fears, all the worries, everything coming back at once. His mind immediately began, what if he didn't pass? What if... And then she did something different. She stopped, she breathed, and she realized this moment wasn't about her. It was about him. Arjun looked at her, nervous, expecting the pressure, the anxiety, the judgment she always put on him. But Priya said something she had never said before. Son, it doesn't matter what's in that envelope. I'm proud of you, of your effort, of the person you are. Open it when you're ready. Arjun was shocked. For a second it looked like he was going to cry. He opened the envelope. His hands trembled. He read, and then he smiled. I passed, Mom. I passed. The whole family celebrated. But the most important thing wasn't that he passed. It was what happened afterward. Arjun hugged Priya. A real, tight, genuine hug. Not the perfunctory hug of the last few months. And he whispered, Thank you, Mom, for not pressuring me, for trusting me, Priya cried. But not from anxiety this time, from gratitude, because she had managed to be present at her son's most important moment without turning it into yet another source of anguish. That night, she wrote in her diary something that Dr. Patel had taught her. Today I chose to be present instead of anxious, and I discovered that the life I have is exactly the life I always wanted. I just needed to stop living in the future long enough to see. Chapter 12. The Transformation. 3 months after the start of therapy, Priya still meditated every day. Some days were easy, others her mind was a mess. But she would show up, 1% better, every day. The anxiety hadn't completely disappeared. She doubted it ever would. But something fundamental had changed. She was no longer identified with the anxiety. Before, when anxiety came, Priya thought, I am anxious. Now she thought, I am feeling anxious. The difference seems small, but it's monumental. One is identity. The other is temporary experience. Maya had a presentation at school. Beforehand, Priya would have turned it into a huge source of stress, checking everything 1,000 times, creating pressure, turning a simple event into a crisis. This time she helped Maya prepare, but let Maya lead. When Maya was nervous, Priya didn't say, Don't be nervous. She said, It's normal to be nervous. You'll do great. And when the performance was over, regardless of how it went, Priya hugged her daughter and said, I'm proud of you for trying. The husband noticed. You're different. More light. I still have anxiety, Priya admitted. But now I know that I am not my anxiety. They are just thoughts passing by. I don't need to believe all of them. Her relationship with Arjun had slowly healed. He started sharing things with her again, asking for her opinion, because she had stopped turning every conversation into a performance audit. 6 months later, Priya was in her final session with Dr. Patel. How do you feel? Honestly, I still have difficult days. I still feel anxious, but I no longer feel like I'm drowning. I feel like I'm finally living the life I always wanted, but never managed to see and do. Dr. Patel smiled. That's Sankhara-Dukkha being dissolved, not by changing your external life, but by changing your relationship with your own mind. You had everything. You always had. You just needed to train your mind to stop turning every good moment into a source of future suffering. Priya thought for a moment, and then she asked the question that had haunted her for years. Why did I do this to myself for so long? Why did my mind create all this suffering? The doctor replied, Because no one taught you that your mind needs training. No one told you that thoughts are just thoughts, not truths. No one showed you that you had a choice. But now you know, and that wisdom changes everything. Priya left the session. The sun was shining. San Francisco was beautiful. Her family was healthy. Her job was stable. Nothing had changed. But at the same time, everything had changed. She had the same life, but now she was present in it. And she discovered that the life she had always had was exactly what she needed. She just needed to stop being anxious all the time so she could start living. Perhaps your life today is like Priya's at the beginning. You might be a mother with a beautiful, healthy family, but you can't enjoy spending time with them. Or perhaps you're a father so preoccupied with providing for the household, so worried about giving your family a better life, that you've forgotten to enjoy time with those you love. You may have forgotten your Ikigai. That's why I'm telling you, take care of your mind. Perhaps your problem isn't external but internal. You may be suffering from Sankhara-Dukkha and not realize it, but now you know the way to break free from it. If you identified with Priya's story, if you have everything but can't enjoy anything, know that you're not alone. We're all susceptible to going through this. Perhaps the problem isn't your life. Perhaps it's your mind, and minds can be trained. Remember, Kaizen 1% better every day. Ikigai, do it for your purpose, for the people you love, for the life you have but can't yet see. Thank you for watching until the end. Always remember, be present, walk with honor, follow the path. Until the next video.